So you're probably wondering why I'm focusing on U.S. electoral politics at the moment. Normally I don't do that, but the reason I'm doing that is because you can see that the U.S. Democratic Party is trying to steal away the nomination from the popular people's candidate, Bernie Sanders, because they'd rather see Trump in office than have anybody that's remotely progressive in office, basically. That's the bottom line. I don't think they care. So they picked Joe Biden, and I'm going to show you a little, it's about 1 minute long video. Somebody's done a compilation of some of the numerous, what would you call them, cognitively impaired comments that Joe Biden has made in recent times, and it's very sad to see. I don't take any pleasure in that, but I'm going to show you this. I'll put the name of the person who put it together. I just can't recall their name right now. It's only very short, but it's important that because he is running for president and because it's likely that they're going to sort of do over Bernie Sanders once again, as they did in 2016, he's likely to become the nominee, and there is no way in the world, even if he was not cognitively impaired, that he would be able to beat Trump, because Trump lies like a rug and all sorts of other problems that he had. Trump, will be able to run circles around him. He's just not going to be able to cut it, really. Of course, American politics is a joke. It's a sham. There's corruption all over the place, and even the voting process is, it's ridiculous. They're going to end up with Joe Biden against Trump, and it'll be 4 more years of Trump. And Trump is a wannabe fascist. He'll see that as a mandate, and he'll do all sorts of awful things. Not that the Democratic Party is going to do much better, but they probably wouldn't be worse than him. But they'll probably be almost as bad as Trump, I'd say, when they get in. I mean, both parties are pretty much the same. Just one is more crass. Anyway, but Joe Biden is not going to cut it, and so I'll show you this little short compilation of how it's very clear that he's cognitively impaired, and Trump could just put this together and put it out as an ad and just blow him out of the water, basically.
Time friend, and she's a friend. She's been my friend in and out of public life. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. Tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Chris, but anyway.
Chris. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Look me over. If you like what you see, help out. If not, vote for the other Biden. I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont? One of the things I'm proudest of is getting moved, getting control of the Paris Climate Accord. I'm the guy that came back after meeting with Deng Xiaoping and making the case that I believe China would join if we put pressure on them. You had people like you had people like the former chairman and leader of the party in Germany. Go to Joe 30330. Watch what happened when those kids from Parkland came up to see me when I was vice president. They went and some of you covered it. It's not that they don't want to help. They don't know quite what to do. Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear words. And to get hot, I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Sort of the Iraq war scenario, the fact that he was such a crucial part of making that war happen is really a pattern that you can see throughout Biden's career, not just in the Iraq war.
When I marched in the civil rights movement, I did not march with a 12-point program. I marched with tens of thousands of others to change attitudes. And we changed attitudes.
In 1987, Joe Biden claimed he marched in the civil rights movement.
When I was 17 years old,
Like many of you, I participated in sit-ins to desegregate the restaurants and movie houses of Wilmington, Delaware. I come out of the civil rights movement. I was one of those guys that sat in and marched and all that stuff.
A few months later, Biden disavowed the claim right before dropping out of the presidential race.
During the 60s, I was, in fact, very concerned about the civil rights movement. I was not an activist. I worked at an all-black swimming pool in the east side of Wilmington, Delaware. I was involved. I was involved in what they were thinking, what they were feeling. I was involved, but I was not out marching. I was not down in Selma. I was not anywhere else. I was a suburbanite kid who got a dose of exposure to what was happening to black Americans when I'm in my own city.
Decades later, during the Obama era, and more recently on the campaign trail, he started making the same claims again.
You know, when I was a teenager in Delaware, for real, I got involved in the civil rights movement. We have the 8th largest black population in America. Most people don't know that. And I'd go to 8 o'clock Mass, then I'd go to Reverend Herring's church where we'd meet in order to organize and figure where we were going to go, whether we were going to desegregate the Rialto movie theater or what we were going to do. I got my education for real in the black church. And that's not hyperbole, it's a fact. But I got my education, Reverend Doc, in the black church. Not a joke. Because when we used to get organized on Sundays to go out and desegregate movie theaters and things like that, we'd do it through the black church. I was no big shakes, Reverend, in the civil rights movement. I was just a kid. I got involved in desegregating movie theaters and helping, you may remember Reverend Moyer in Delaware and Herman Holloway organized voter registration drives, coming out of black churches on Sundays, figuring how we were going to move. In October, I was invited to the National Civil Rights Museum in Memphis to receive the Freedom Award. A thing when I sat in black churches in the east side of Wilmington getting ready to, and by the way, next to two Jewish rabbis, getting ready to go out and desegregate movie theaters in Delaware. I never ever thought in my life I would be worthy of, and I'm still not sure I'm worthy of it.
Okay, so that's Joe Biden, and that's it's clear that I think it's clear that he's at least cognitively impaired, but possibly in early stages of dementia. He's in advanced age, and I'm not a doctor, and so I don't know. But I think either he can't stand up to the stress of this presidential race, or this is the beginnings of dementia for him. But I'm sure that the people around him probably know better than I would, and they deal with him every day, and they would know if he's sort of, forgetting where things are, and it's just not good. And the way he rambles and stuff, it's not exactly promising. Rambling along about, if you've seen that video when he's telling that kind of racist story about corn pops. I mean, anyway, so Joe Biden was once a New Deal Democrat that he, quote, evolved, end quote, and started backing decades of Republican plans to cut Medicare and Social Security. I invite you to check out this article by Jacobin. It's got some economically illiterate statements in there about the deficit, but it's called Joe Biden Tried to Cut Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare for 40 years. It's in Jacobin and Jocobin, and it's by Branko Marcetic. So I won't read it to you, you can check it out. But I've seen videos where he's talking about cutting Social Security and programs like that. So that's the absolute opposite to what Bernie Sanders would do. And I don't know why anybody would vote for Joe Biden, who is suffering, doesn't have health care and all of that. And this is what the DNC is wanting people to vote for. Somebody who wants to cut Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare. I mean, it's insane, because they know that their base, 75 to 80% of their base want Medicare for all. They also, most of the public in the United States want Medicare for all. Most Western countries, including Australia, have free health care to some degree. The United States is just standing out there, by themselves in this, and it's not radical to have free health care. So the DNC is putting up a candidate who is cognitively impaired, and Trump is going to have a field day with him. And he's also, what's the difference between, Trump's not going to give anybody Medicare for all. He's going to cut Social Security and he's going to cut Medicaid. So why, and if Joe Biden's been dedicated to that for 40 years in doing that exact same thing, why would they vote for, why would people vote for that? And it's going to be another one of those FU votes from people who think that this is the Democratic Party once again stealing the nomination from somebody who's somewhat progressive. This is sort of this is why they're just one big party, the Democrats and the Republicans. The Democrats don't care if Trump gets in again, because they still get their lobbyist money, they're serving their corporate overlords. It doesn't matter to them whether Trump gets in or he doesn't get in, really, because they still get their money. It's corrupt. So, this is the thing. It should be very clear, as Whitney Webb said. The two parties in the US offer the illusion of choice, and the sooner people wake up to that, the better off the US will be. The CIA regularly destroys, often with mass murder, people-driven movements around the world. You think they'd let one win the presidency in their home turf? ? And she also said on Super Tuesday, Dems promoting Biden when he will clearly and inevitably have his senile ass handed to him by Trump should be proof to everyone that the DNC doesn't want to win shit, and that there is really only one political party in the US. If you don't see it now, you'll never see it. That's very true. Anyway, that's all I want to say. I just wanted to show you that. I think it's very important to put it out there too. Carl Kalinske posted it on his Twitter account, and he gave a hat tip to the guy, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, who actually put it together. And I think it's important, whether you share this video or not, it doesn't matter. Just find Carl Kalinske and share that thing of Joe Biden showing his cognitive decline for all to see in public. Spread it around so people see what the DNC is actually promoting as their candidate. They may as well just forget about the whole election and just go, here you are, Trump, 4 more years.